Today we're going to a new area and starting a new business. Welcome to a new episode on the Create World, and today we're going to automate some of the upgrades that we use a lot. But first, we need to get some transport to a new town. When we put in the tracks towards Lumbermore, I figured out that having large height changes makes the track climb very unrealistically. Any height changes is really very strange, honestly. So we're going to keep the tracks on this level. This might look a little weird because we'll have some long, weird tunnels and some floating rails, but we can fix that later. For now, we just need to get this finished up. And now we set up our trusted tunnel train. We'll set up some rollers to pave the ground underneath the tracks, and then a good amount of drills for any unwanted blocks that are in the way of our future trains. And off we go. This will take a few moments, but let me put on a movie and I'll see you all when I'm done. Now that we have reached all around the new loop, we can start working on a new train. To do that, I do need a trip to the Nether. You see, I want to make use of some boilers. These are from the Steam and Rail add-on, and they require blaze rods. I really need to make a farm for those one day, but for now, we'll just run around the fortress. I haven't found a spawner, and running around in the open part of the fortress just ends up with a lot of blaze rods being dumped into lava, so I've resorted to running around in the hallways, hoping for a straggler or two. And now I've got enough for what I want, so let's get started on the train. The locomotive is going to be a bit more on the rustic vibe, so a dark locomotive with some copper details in it will be more than enough for an engine. The train itself will be taking stuff from town to town, so from Lumbermore to the new town and from the new town all the way back to the startup base, so we will make some freight carriages. The first one is a test to see if they will fit through the tunnels, and to match up some interfaces on stations as well, which should be good. So let's glue it all together and take this over to the logging mill. Over here we can set up the first station for the freight train, and that works perfectly. Now let me make a spot where we can make this train a little longer. Since we're going to need lava as well, we'll add a tank in the middle of the cart and then another carriage for some logs at the back. Now it's time for me to get all the stations and interfaces for all of these things in place, so give me a moment. We're at the new place to get started on the true goal of this video. And before we can do any of the technical stuff, I need to get the building built up. And that's why we're clearing up this big area near the train tracks. Now let's frame out this building using some limestone. I think 3 floors should be enough with some odd shapes. That should do the trick. So we'll just fill it in with more limestone. And then we can start adding shape with some patios and decks all along the outside. There's going to be a boatload of copycat blocks in this build, so we might as well add more. We'll get some deep slate for the bottom floor and then use some spruce planks for the other 2 as well. On top of this entire building, we can add another small building that can be used for maintenance stuff. Now for some outside detailing. First things first, we need to add a nice advertisement in this big space that we have. And then we'll add a bunch of overhangs and some rims to the windows before we add in the glass. And now that we're ready with all of the exteriors, let's get started on the upgrade production. We'll start off with some diamonds. We'll import some logs that will be turned into charcoal. The charcoal will then be compressed into coal and stored in a compaction drawer. That way we can extract coal blocks and press them into diamonds. It's a pretty easy way to make diamonds, if you think about it. And all of this needs to be hooked up to the interfaces for the train, so it can dump its logs and lava right into the system. With that done, we can build up a small obsidian farm as well. This is a pretty small and slow design, but we're basically going to pump in a source block of lava next to a waterlogged block and turn it into obsidian. When that happens, we can use the drill to mine it and dump it into storage. Now it's time for me to get a train schedule in. That's pretty boring, so here's a little montage of me cleaning up the area. Now that the train is running on its own, we get a steady stream of stuff for the farm. It does take a while for it to do a full loop, but that's not too bad because the farm doesn't need to be too fast. I do want to add in a little shop front on the inside of the building. It's not much of a decoration, but it does add a bit of a corporation feel to the building. We do need to relocate the drawers, but that's not a huge change to the setup. We also need to add some light to keep the building safe, but more than that is not necessary. And I think that's all good. We'll keep going in the next episode with some more upgrades, but for now I can call the episode here, and I hope you liked it, so subscribe, like the video, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye!